Hey guys, just checking in with you. We are sitting here. We are in the middle of the polar vortex in the upper Midwest. I think literally it was almost 30 below zero last night here, just a little bit northwest of the Minneapolis, St. Paul area in Minnesota. Anyway, I do have an update for you on the work we did out on the property. It actually all got done in December. I've just been kind of procrastinating getting the videos put together and out to you for an update. So before we go out to the property, I just wanted to give you kind of a idea of where I'm standing when I'm shooting the videos. So the first one, I'm standing right on this berm here that we built. The berm ended up being way higher than it needs to be. We need to get out there in the summer and kind of knock this thing down a little bit, but we'll do that when the time comes. My pond, or my reservoir pond as I characterized it, only ended up about a quarter of what we have drawn here. Really, it's just kind of this side is all that got excavated out simply because I ran out of budget. I was kind of bummed, but you know, the reality is this is an area that in the future I can always come back and do as much work as I want, and as the pocketbook allows. So that's just the way it is. The second video, I'm all the way down here on to the south. There's a deer stand right here. You can actually kind of see it on the aerial shot. Climbed up on that, gave you a kind of a look mostly to the north. I also panned south here, giving a look that way. But all the work is done that we can do, at least until things thaw out. We've had a cold winter so far with not a lot of snow. So we won't be doing really much work probably till April, May at the very earliest. But this primary berm is in place, as is the secondary berm here, and we have a little reservoir pond which is in place. Come this summer, we got to install water control structures here, and I'm kind of undecided. I was originally thinking three water control structures on this berm to allow for drainage of the impoundment, but I may end up just doing two. We'll see what happens. You know, the more water control structures you install, obviously, the higher probability you'll have for washouts and leaks and so forth. So I'm kind of undecided at this point how many we're going to install. But anyway, there's more work to do this spring, but I'll bring you that update when it's time. Let me get you out to the property and I'll show you what we got done so far this year.
All right, guys, here's the update. This is the reservoir pond as it was supposed to be. It really turned out to be about a quarter of what I had originally marked. Let's see if we can zoom in. There's a stake. You can see how far back from there they actually went. The bottom line is I just ran out of money. I didn't budget enough. It would probably cost double from what the whole project cost if I wanted to expand this thing out. I'm standing on this smaller berm, which was only supposed to be about 2 feet tall, and it actually ended up being closer to 4 or 5 feet, but it'll settle and we'll knock it down in the spring. I'll get some other equipment out here, a small excavator and skid loader, kind of shape this thing out, because I'd like to be able to run a four-wheeler up on top of this with a drag and plant this thing. If I swing around 180 degrees, there is the big berm, the 800 footer. So we're standing on the high side of the impoundment. The food plot, of course, will be planted down closer to the berm, and where I'm standing right now is where our water control structure will be. And one additional thing we did, which I'll mention in a later video, we rerouted a ditch, so there's a huge wetland. We just basically redirected the direction that it drains which will now be controlled off a water control structure, which we'll place out here in the spring. So that's a quick update. Thanks for watching. Alright, so we're standing up in the deer stand on the south side of the tillable acreage here, giving you a different vantage point. You can see the berm, obviously, and our existing pond. Pretty cool. You can really see how it's shaped. Everything drains from as far up as you can see. It all comes through this pond. And here is an old ditch that goes all the way through the woods and ultimately connects into the watershed. So what we're doing is basically just getting control over this thing. Actually, there's our water control structure, which was going to go in this area, but I think I'm actually going to end up using it to control my reservoir pond. So, just a different perspective here. This whole thing, this whole system, all the water, the drainage on this property now is going to be just controllable from way up beyond where you can see in the wetland. We're going to be able to control it, the drainage coming down to the berm, and ultimately I'm going to have water control structures across this berm, which will be able to release water into this pond, which ultimately gets into the watershed. And actually I do have another water control structure at the end of this ditch here back in the woods where I got another pond. So that's kind of the whole system.